Over the weekend, French YouTuber and known AC leaker Jonathan shared more insights on this mysterious third DLC for Valhalla. So today we're going to go over his information, including why this DLC could bring us to Northern Africa. Before we dive in, go ahead and check out his video linked in the description below. This video wouldn't be possible without his information. And before we start, make sure you're subbed to the channel here so you don't miss whatever Ubisoft is going to show at UB Forward this weekend. Now, I haven't covered leaks on this channel since January, so if you're a little behind, here is a refresher. There were a ton of rumors going around early this year mentioning an Assassin's Creed game set in India, and I don't know about that one at this point, but one of them mentioned another DLC coming to Valhalla outside of Wrath of the Druids and Siege of Paris. A couple months later, Jonathan found files in an update for Valhalla which confirmed a third DLC coming to the game by the codename Meteor. After that, he found Muspelheim in reference to this DLC, suggesting that Meteor would feature this mythical Norse realm in some form or fashion. And then we have some concept art from Martin DeChambeau of various mythical realms, one of them being Muspelheim. Concept art doesn't always point to something being real, but we've learned that it certainly can. This time around, we got another round of updates on the leaks, and it's really just Jonathan corroborating his information with other sources around the community to give us some more details and a couple more theories on what could be going on with this mysterious secret third DLC. The first bit of information is confirming kind of what we already knew, which is that Ubisoft's Sofia studio is developing this DLC. The initial rumor was that they were supposed to make a spin-off Assassin's Creed game, like a smaller scale version that was more linear that would come out later this year in 2021. But of course, as we know, COVID happened, it affected everything across the games industry, and also the success of Valhalla forced Ubisoft to switch gears on their plans. Because as we've heard, they plan for Valhalla to have the longest tail of any game in the series. Others around the community, including myself, have been skeptical of this because it doesn't make a ton of monetary sense for them to, invest in a huge DLC, but that seems to be where we are heading. Now, the next bit of information is that Meteor could bring us to North Africa, and this comes by way of a Reddit post on the Assassin's Creed subreddit, which attaches the 9 realms to specific regions of the world, which, as we know from how the Norse thought, this is something that they did. Since Jotunheim is supposed to mirror Scandinavia, the poster made the same connection here, linking Muspelheim to North Africa. And none other than Darby McDevitt himself responded to this post and confirmed that his team connected Muspelheim with North Africa. We know that in history, the Vikings did visit North Africa, so it stands to reason that it's possible we could visit this region in a DLC for Valhalla. In his video, Jonathan suggests maybe Ubisoft Sofia will reuse assets from Assassin's Creed Origins in order to build out Northern Africa, which again, we know how these big studios operate that try to pump out yearly or bi-yearly titles. It just makes sense for them to reuse assets, it streamlines the process, and they don't have to spend those extra resources and money to create new things that they already have. So while this is just a theory, I think it's a very sound theory. It would make sense to see Eivor travel to Northern Africa in the same way that he traveled to Ireland in Wrath of the Druids, in the same way that he will travel to France for Siege of Paris. There's also some additional speculation about this lining up with Odin, kind of traveling the 9 realms after the death of his son. Now, you guys probably know the mythical part of Valhalla is not really my favorite. It's not what I look forward to. So I'd be happy if they gave us a little bit of each, bit of Northern Africa and a little bit of the mythical realm, just like the main game. And then finally, there was another 4chan leak which sort of corroborates some of Jonathan's info. And it says apparently Meteor will be named Ragnarok, and this DLC will involve literal meteors. So first off, It's funny that we have two games that have Ragnarok associated with them. If you remember, Ragnarok was the original code name, at least rumored code name, for Valhalla. And then with the meteors, shout out to Joraptor, who's been covering these leaks, and also the random meteors that have been appearing in Valhalla apparently since launch. You can find these out in the world and actually loot them, but it'll be interesting to see if this is true, how these link to DLC. Back to this post, the DLC is supposed to feature Iceland and all of the other Norse realms of mythology. It's going to be the biggest DLC ever for an Assassin's Creed game. It won't be standalone or part of a season pass, but it will cost $40, which, guys, that's huge. This is a bit odd to me because we know that Far Cry New Dawn was the smaller spin-off to Far Cry 5, which continued the story, right? And it was a little bit different. It had more RPG mechanics. But it just seems weird that this would be part of Valhalla and require the game, but also cost $40. Like, that limits the amount of people that can grab this. And while Valhalla did sell a bunch, we know that these DLCs don't sell a ton on their own. It makes more sense for them to release this as a standalone game or heavily discount Valhalla to ensure that people will grab this DLC. In any case, this leak also suggests that it'll be announced at Ubisoft Forward, so that's going to be only 5 days away if this is true. It also says that this was planned for winter of this year, but it was pushed back to early 2022, obviously because of the other delays with previous DLC. This leak also mentions the concept art from the mythological realms that we saw before, and says that these were cut from the base game in order to be brought back for DLC. So somewhere along the development process, they decided this isn't going to make the main game, let's save it for later, which is something that we've seen plenty of times for many games. And then finally, this post says that Sofia is leading a bigger project to release next year, another Assassin's Creed game. This was the King Richard smaller scope title, but now it's going to be a knight-based game during the 100 Years' War. I feel like that's a topic for another video, but yeah, just a ton of information here, and this is stuff, guys, that I just wouldn't be shocked if it did come true. Maybe not that last part, but everything about the DLC and using the cut content to make an entire expansion. The part about going to Northern Africa, it would make sense for the Vikings, and it really reminds me of Curse of the Pharaohs and kind of how Bayek visited those realms in the DLC for that game. This is Ubisoft Montreal, so it would make sense. Either way, the clock is ticking, so we're going to learn something more very soon on the Assassin's Creed Valhalla front, whether it's new DLC or some other kind of Assassin's Creed product at Ubisoft Forward. That is it for this video, guys. If Meteor does get revealed or we get another round of rumors, I'll be sure to update you here on the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please let me know by clicking the like button. If you're new around here, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and also click the bell to receive live notifications so you don't miss my next video. You can also follow me on social media. I'm jayveeonYT on Twitter and jayvee.yt on Instagram for updates on all of my content. If you want to chat more about Horizon or really any other game, join our community Discord server over at discord.gg/jayveeonYT. Links for everything I've talked about are in the description below. Big thanks to my YouTube members, Ultra fans Bill and Cam, Super fans Tipsy Sergey, Tarl K, and William, fans Matthew Spyro, JVO, Level 42, Blood Sky, Kamal, and Andy, and supporters Nos, Sung, Adam, Mr. Hollow, Quickness, Firkin, Jay, Sam, Abhishek, Ferris, Report, Gabrielle, Abraham, Reaperman, John, and Teo for supporting the channel. If you want to support me further, click the join button below this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.